actually feels like a really bad hangover. That's what it feels like. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Lil and today we're gonna be talking about getting vaccinated and anxiety. So yeah, let's get into it. Yesterday I got the vaccine, the first dose. It was fine. It didn't hurt when they injected me. It was just over so quickly, and it wasn't really that much of an inconvenience. And I got the vaccine because in my family, we've experienced so much loss from this panorama, and yeah, I just didn't want anything to do with it, you know what I mean? So I got the vaccine. I know, like, some people in my family are against it, and literally when I was in line, there was this man who brought his sister. And he was like, no, I'm not taking the vaccine because it's the end times, all these things are rooted in Satanism. And I'm like, okay, I get it. People are scared, people are apprehensive, and that's fine. Like, do you, boo? Like, at least he brought his sister, he didn't refuse. And I know some families are divided on it, but for me personally, I just said, I'm getting it. I want to be able to travel without having to stay in a hotel for 14 days at my own expense because I barely have enough money to survive. So yeah, I got it. And my symptoms today, I woke up with a really, really, really bad headache. I actually had it throughout the night. I barely slept. This is just vitamin C. I barely slept, and I didn't have any fever. My arm is sore. Like, it's sore and it's a little bit swollen, but basically that's it. I was advised to drink paracetamol, and yeah, once I drank it, I felt considerably better. I know some people have had chills, fevers, but like for me, it's just a headache. I woke up also kind of nauseous, but that might just be because of my uterus. My period is coming soon, but like, yeah, other than that, that's all I felt so far. Another reason I got it, like, let's get into the other aspect of the video, is anxiety. I have been diagnosed with severe anxiety disorder, like chronic anxiety disorder. I can't remember, but one of the two. It's really, really bad. I know for a fact it's genetic. A lot of people have it in my family, on both sides of my family. And yeah, it's no surprise that I was diagnosed with it, like, professionally. Before you think you have a mental illness, please get diagnosed, because a lot of mental illnesses, the symptoms overlap, and you might be, self-diagnosing for something that you don't have, which is actually very dangerous. For me, I was professionally diagnosed. And yeah, so let me get into what anxiety is. I'm sorry if you hear a sound. It's the wind and the door. Like, I just can't be bothered today. I feel like a sack of rotten potatoes. And also, I just want to give a disclaimer that I am not a medical professional. So everything I do say here in this video, I just want you to know that you should get, professional advice. But hopefully this video actually helps you if you're feeling some type of way, in a dark place with your mental state. So yeah. So let's start with what anxiety actually is, and I just got this definition off the internet. So it's a mental health disorder characterized by feelings of worry, anxiety, or fear that are strong enough to interfere with one's daily activities. Examples of anxiety disorder include panic attacks, obsessive compulsive disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. So for me, I want to talk about the symptoms that my anxiety manifests as. One of them, and let me start with this one because it's linked to getting the vaccine. I have fears of getting sick. So whenever there's like someone in my family has cancer, my mind starts racing and I think I have like, it sounds funny. Yeah, you're so dramatic. It's actually not. Like, I cannot control my brain. Like, if the idea is sown in my mind that this is something that you're suffering from, I will manifest symptoms. So can you imagine how many times I thought I had COVID? You know what I mean? Like, I would literally fail to breathe, but I know I don't have it because I barely left my house. I know I don't have it, but like, I'm there, my chest is heavy, it's tight, I can't breathe, all these symptoms. This is why I did not Google the symptoms that people had been experiencing after taking the vaccine, because if I Google symptoms for anything, my brain automatically manifests the symptoms. So yeah, so during the whole pandemic situation, I constantly thought I had COVID. Like, I could barely breathe, especially at night. It was really bad. I would go get tested and I'd be negative, and my doctors would be like, dude, you're not sick. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I have anxiety disorder, like, I can't help it, like, but better safe than sorry, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I got the vaccine because I was tired of constantly thinking that I had COVID, basically. So yeah, that's one of my symptoms. So you can imagine how many times I thought I had cancer or just all sorts of things. If, oh my god, I don't even want to get into detail, but sickness, that is one of my symptoms, manifesting fake symptoms. Like, it feels so real, and you can, it's awful going to a doctor and then they literally do every single test and say there's nothing wrong with you, but your brain is literally killing you. You feel like you're dying. Yeah, it's no joke. A lot of people think that people are just being dramatic or whatever. You literally can't control how your brain works when it has anxiety, and unfortunately there is no cure for anxiety. You just learn how to manage it. There are medications that help you when you're having really bad anxious periods, but yeah, there's no cure. You just have to learn how to live with it and work around it. Another way my anxiety manifests is being obsessively compulsive. It's not as bad as some people where you see, and like, I know there've been memes made out of it which are so mean, like people who like constantly open and close the door like uncontrollably, like they have to do it like 6 times or whatever. It's not that bad, but for me it's mostly a feng shui issue. I'm gonna say feng shui, but it's not really feng shui. Like, things have to be in order of even numbers, and if it's in an odd number it can only be in fives. I know I sound crazy, but like, I'm just making this video. Hopefully if 3 people who watch this video, if you are feeling anything that I'm feeling, it encourages you to get the help you need. So like, everything has to be even numbers or in fives, and if it's an odd number, like if it's something I can change, like volume on the TV or the radio, if it's something I can change, like, yeah, it has to be in either fives or even. If it's something I cannot change, I don't mind it too much because I know I have no control over it. Like, let's say someone buys me 7 oranges, it's like, okay, fine, you know. But if I was in the store, I would probably have to get like 6 oranges you know, I don't know why that's the case. And also cleanliness and everything being put in its place. And my friends just used to think, oh my god, law is so difficult, like whatever, but they've come to understand. But a lot of people don't, and they think I'm just being difficult. Things have to be the way that they are, especially in my living space, because it's my safe space. So if you come and visit me and you are snooping around in my house, I don't mind. You can snoop, you can open stuff, but I will be following you behind to put things back exactly the way that they were. Some people find that like, oh my god, you're so like controlling, whatever, but I just, it's I will literally get physically ill if you haven't put back the thing where it's supposed to be, because that's control. Like when you have anxiety, there's grounding things that ground you, and sometimes it's as simple as your pen being in a specific place on your desk. You know what I mean? It's just, people with anxiety know what I mean. But like, yeah, I'm just trying to explain this. I know I sound ridiculous, but like, yeah, I will go around putting things like, if you're sleeping over and you throw something on the ground, I will pick it up and fold it and put it somewhere else. And this is why I have this thing where I memorize where everything is. And friends of mine who are not very much in tune with where their property is usually know that I know. Like if they put their wallet down somewhere, if it's in my house, I will know where to find it, because I know it doesn't belong, and I know like your tendencies, or I noticed you put it there and I haven't forgotten it. Like, it's crippling sometimes, and people really do take it personally, but I don't care if you take it personally, because when you have mental health issues, you really have to put yourself first. And no matter how ridiculous it seems, because I know my therapist told me that if you need things to be a certain way, then let them be that way, because it's better than having a panic attack. So like, even if I would go into my therapist's office after they had seen a previous patient and I feel like the room, like there's something wrong with the room, my therapist would let me rearrange the room the way I needed it to be to feel comfortable in that space. So yeah, it is what it is. And like, yeah. The next symptom that I have is dread. I am in a constant state of thinking of the worst case scenarios. So like, my friends find it funny or quirky when, you know, when I say like, someone will be like, oh my gosh, that girl went out for a walk at midnight and she took these beautiful pictures. And then I'll be like, can you imagine if someone just came and kidnapped her? And you know, I'll just go to the worst case scenario. I can't help it. That's just the way my brain works. I think of the worst constantly. I'm getting better at it, but like, I think of the worst constantly, and I've been like that ever since I was a child. Like, or asking random questions, like I'll see a full moon and then it just go to werewolves, and then I'll be like, can you imagine if werewolves came and like ripped the roof of this car off and like ate us? You know, like I just go dread. And a lot of the time it's not funny. Sometimes I have personal dread. If I'm driving home alone at night, I imagine people, you know, finding a way to stop my car, and just the worst possible things you can imagine happening to me. If someone is walking, especially men, I'm sorry, yeah, not all men, I get it, but if a man, whether it's during the day, it's at night, if a man seems to be walking really fast behind me, I literally have a panic attack. I have to step to the side and the man has to pass me. If he doesn't pass me and he engages in me, it's even worse. It's even worse, because like, I have so much dread. And I remember when I was at boarding school, I was constantly thinking of my parents dying when I'm not at home. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like constant state of dread. And yeah, that's just how my brain works. The next symptom is panic attacks. I have had so many panic attacks. Your chest is tight, you can't breathe, you are crying, you can't think, everything, your body is just in a heightened state of flee. I need to flee, I need to flee, I need to get out of here. And the worst thing is when people are just saying, oh, just calm down. It's like the worst thing, because you are trying to calm down. The fact that you're crying is because you have tried to calm down and your body has said, no, you can't calm down. You are in danger. You can't control it. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? You just can't control it. And yeah, panic attacks are not fun. I've had a couple. I think one time at boarding school, I actually collapsed once or twice. Because I had received some really bad news. And I just couldn't take it. Like, now I'm better with like dealing with hard situations, but before, especially when I was younger, I couldn't deal with any sort of bad news. I would just have a really bad panic attack, pass out, or I would just have really bad panic attack and be physically ill in the hospital on a drip, because it would give me gastrointestinal issues, so like gastritis and ulcers. There was no in between, you know what I mean? So like physically ill, because I just couldn't deal with situations that were just super heavy. But now, like with therapy and I was put on medication, now I'm off medication, but like it helped like rewire my brain, so I haven't had a panic attack in, I want to say, a year? Yeah, I haven't had a panic attack in it. Oh no, I'm lying. Well, before my panic attack, like last month, I hadn't had a panic attack for like, I want to say 11 months. But like, yeah, it happens, you know? But at least I didn't have to go to the hospital. Like, my need to go to the hospital when I have panic attacks has drastically reduced, you know? So yeah, that's another one of my symptoms, panic attacks. What else? Oh yeah, another one of my symptoms is spiraling. If I have any sort of altercation or argument with someone, I will, or if they hurt me, and if it doesn't end up in like an argument, I will spiral. I will start thinking of everything I could have said or should have said in that instance, and it really sends me, sometimes it leads to panic attacks, but sometimes it's just a constant spiral, and it leads to a depression. I can do another separate video on depression, but like, yeah, let's say a person called Lisa says something negative with like a negative connotation. Like, let's say she says, oh, your hair, is it supposed to be like that? And then I'll be like, yes, you know what I mean? And then I don't do anything. I'll go home and I'll think of all the things I should have said to Lisa. I'll think of all the things like, why would she say that? First, it's like, why would they say something like that? Is the problem really me? And then I'll be like, no, but that's just how my hair is. Like, I like my hair like that. I should have told her that I like my hair like that. Like, what? I should have asked her, why did you say that? I should have been, you know, like, it would just be a spiral. And let's say you give me something as a gift, you know, let's say money. Let's say you give me 100 kwacha. Hey babe, here's 100 kwacha for love. I'm like, oh, thank you. And then all of a sudden we're at the chill and you say, oh, can I borrow that 100 I gave you? And I'll give it back to you, I promise. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, you know, but like, I mean, it was a gift, like it was 100 and a half, so yeah, you can have it back. But you know, obviously they say, oh no, I'll give you, I promise, I swear. And then they don't give me back. I'll be like, why did they even give it to me in the first place? Did I say something for them to want to take it back? Did they genuinely forget to give it back? Why do I care? I never even had that 100 kwacha in the first, like, spiraling. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, spiraling all aspects of life. Is it my fault, or why did I not stand up for myself? Why did I like it's a lot. So yeah, I've had these symptoms for a very long time. I think I've had them for over 20 years, even though I was just diagnosed like a year ago, I think, like professionally. I've had them for over 20 years, and every time I would have gastritis, my doctors would be like, "What are you thinking about? Why are you thinking? Don't think." And I'm like, "How do I not think?" And that's like one of the most important aspects of anxiety, is that your brain can't stop thinking. Like, whether you like it or not, your brain is gonna obsess over something, and it's gonna obsess and keep on poking. Like, there's that meme where you're trying to sleep and your brain is like, "Psst, hey, let's think about what so and so said, or let's think about what happened today, or let's think about why blah 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 blah." And it's just so exhausting. And I know people will be like, "Why are you tired? You don't have, you don't do much, you don't work," or "Oh, you work, but it's not that hard what you do." People with anxiety are exhausted all the time because their brains are always working. Even when they're sleeping, your brain is always working. Your brain is screaming. Your brain is under constant distress. Constant distress. And, my friend Chimba, Killjoy, he sent me a video where, I'll put it here somewhere, where it's an accurate portrayal of what anxiety feels like. It's awful. And that's you every single day of your life. And it's one of the worst things to have, because it's something that other people would find extremely irritating to deal with, because it's like, oh, like the words that I hear about myself, like, "Oh, Lo, you're so dramatic. You're so dramatic. Like, why can't you just calm down? Why can't you just chill?" And people, I get it, because their brains work in a normal way. For them, they would never spiral. They don't think about what they should have said. They don't think about how they should have stood up for themselves. They don't think about anything like that. They don't think about getting sick. You know what I mean? Like, they don't, like, it's like their brains don't work like that. Their lives just seem so carefree, and they just don't understand why you are choosing, because that's the one, that's another one, why you are choosing to obsess about it. Like, I've had so many people in my life, my aunts, my uncles, my bosses, my friends, tell me, "Why do you choose to worry about things like that? Like, don't even think about, like," bitch, if I could turn off thinking, I would, but I can't. It's like you're imprisoned in your own mind, and it's just one of the worst things you can ever go through. But that being said, people with anxiety, or any of the symptoms that I've said, or any other symptoms that I may have forgotten to mention that I have, there are people who are going to be patient with you, people who are going to empathize with you, even though they don't know what you're going through. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to set boundaries, to say, "I need you to be like this in my space." It's okay to leave a space when you are feeling threatened. Like, I know, like, there's some time when I'll be out at a party and I'll just be like, "Okay, I'm leaving now." And then people will be like, "Where are you going? Don't go." Most of the time it's because my anxiety is working up and I just need to get out. I need to go back to my safe space. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it like that, but that's just what it is. And I leave when the party is still at its height or whatever. It's not because I want attention. And oh my God, I'm not going to tell you exactly how I used to deal with anxiety before I went to therapy, because unfortunately I've told people what I used to do, self-destructive behaviors, and they have actually gone and copied what I was doing, and I'm not trying to make people copy what I was doing, but just know that before I went to therapy, I was doing a lot of self-destructive things, and it was, yeah, it was not great. But I felt like that was all I could do. And because I was doing those things, a lot of people would be like, why do you want attention so badly? Why do you want blah, 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 blah? And I just felt like I didn't want to be like alive anymore, because I felt like everyone just thinks, oh, you're just so dramatic, you're just so irritating, you just want attention, you just want blah 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 blah, you just want, you know what I mean? And that's the last thing you want when you genuinely have anxiety. You're just trying to look for peace, for silence, and sometimes it reaches that stage where you don't want to be alive anymore, where your bosses are saying it's just weakness in your brain, just eat fish heads and you'll be fine. Yes, that's been told to me before on multiple occasions. But like, when you feel like your feelings are not validated, you feel like there's something wrong with you. Yeah, there's something wrong with you, but it's medical. It's, I don't know why diseases of the brain are treated to be these diseases you choose to have. There's so many traumas that happen in your life to get you to that point. Sometimes anxiety can come from genetics, and then the traumas you face in your life just amplify it. Or sometimes something really bad happens to you and you develop anxiety. You know what I mean? So like, I don't understand why it's so easy for people to be like, oh my gosh, these physical ailments that we can see are the only things we should worry about, but everything in the mind is responsible for everything you do. Why don't we encourage taking care of it? You know what I mean? And yes, I've been told 1,000 billion times to just pray. Pray, 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 pray. And let me tell you something. I prayed. I've spoken to priests, because I'm Catholic, I've spoken to priests. And I think sometimes God comes through in a different way than you think when you have mental illness. When you have mental illness, it's not going to be a miracle where you just stop feeling your symptoms. Sometimes it's that friend of yours who is constantly trying to give you materials on how to get mental help. Those adverts that your social media keep forcing down your throat to try. That friend of yours, if you're in Zambia, who constantly tries to tell you like, oh, you can go to Clinic 6, just make sure you go to your local, your local government clinic and get a referral for Clinic 6, and then you can start going for free therapy sessions once you're signed up. Like, it's not, that's how God is coming through for you, because a lot of people have this misconception that like God is a magician. God is not a magician. He gives us the tools we need so that we can fit them in our own lives. That's what I truly believe, because God helps you through other people a lot of the time. Yeah, there's miracles, I guess, but I think people are so hell-bent on waiting for a miracle instead of just actually opening your eyes and understanding that there's people who God uses who genuinely care about you, pushing you to do something that is hard, but you know that it's the right thing to do. For me, it was my parents. They just said, we're going to find the money and we're going to send you therapy, at great cost to themselves, because it was not cheap. It was not cheap at all, and through doing that, it helped me be in the system and have access to alternatives for people that may not have the opportunity to pay for therapy. You know what I mean? Like, my therapist is amazing, and she is so helpful, even though I haven't been seeing her because I'm broke, but she still is so helpful. Whenever I have questions, whenever I need her, she is there for me. And even like friends of mine who have needed help, she's helped me direct them to help. And yeah, sometimes, and please don't tell someone with mental illness to just pray, because they've already prayed. Chances are they've already prayed. And if you're telling them something that they've already done, then chances are they're going to take the ultimate route out, because they're like, I tried it, it didn't work. You know what I mean? So yeah. And another thing I wanted to say is, if you have been to therapy and you feel like the therapist you got was not a good fit for you, it's okay to change your therapist. I think I found my therapist on the third try, the one that I gelled with. And yeah, it's okay to change your therapist. It's like a serious relationship. You don't just date anybody. So why would you pick just any random therapist? If you feel like you're not vibing, if they're not giving you what you need, then yeah, ask to be referred to a different therapist, and they will do it. They are not going to feel offended, because they know this is not their first rodeo. You know what I mean? And whether it's free therapy at UTH or you're paying for it at Silver Linings, you should definitely ask to see someone else, and that's fine. It's okay, because they care about you getting the help you need. You know, they don't take it personally, because they are trained to understand that people have different needs and different personalities deal with different people. If you have any questions about how I have dealt with my anxiety in a healthy way outside of taking medication, then let me know. I will, yeah, you can reach me on the usuals. You can DM me on Instagram, or you can tweet me or whatever. In the comments, I don't mind. I will answer. I don't have any secrets. And oh, that's another point. When you go to your therapist, don't lie. It's like going to your lawyer. Don't lie. Like, or your doctor, like, just don't lie. Like, why are you going to therapy to lie? Just tell the truth. If you've got deviances, they're not gonna judge you. We will judge you as lay people, but they're not gonna judge you, because their job is to help you understand why you have these deviances. They will not judge you based on your sexuality. They will not judge you based on whatever has happened to you, no matter how bad it is, no matter how fucked up it is. They will not judge you based on what you have done. So please don't lie to your therapist. Tell them the truth. You can lie to your friends, but don't lie to your therapist. So yeah, that's basically what I want to do. Why I got the vaccine? Because my brain is in a constant state of self-destruction. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. So yeah, bye.